Brady. This is going to be exciting.
And they got a car restarts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome back, Goat Locker Racing fans, to the SAVE22 Friday Night Truck Series. With only 2 more races to go until we settle in our top 12 drivers for the playoff bracket, Miles the Monster is hungry, but nobody wants to be the one to feed him. It's Dover Speedway for race number 8. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the V-Speed booth. I'm Logan Threlkeld, and joining me back tonight, once again, is Sky Shrek, and of course, Eddie Smith behind the cameras. Sky, we're glad to have you back this week. Are you ready to see who can defeat Miles?
I am excited. Dover is a very unique track. It's unlike pretty much everything else on the schedule. It's a concrete bowl similar to Bristol, but a mile in length. Speeds get high, crashes get hard, and it's always hard racing here at Dover.
It's always called a self-clearing track as well, so anything that you see happen will likely end up on the inside portion of the track. Taking a look at our Google images here. Dover International Speedway. 24 degrees of banking in the corners, and it is just about as much coming down the straights. It is one of the most oddly banked tracks that you'll come across, Sky, and it's kind of what makes it so special.
It is for sure. Because of those really high bank straightaways, you're kind of always having to keep it up on the racetrack, because it's really easy when you have a moment or when you crash to slide it down and hit the inside wall. These drivers are always going to have to be on their toes here no matter what.
Let's take a quick moment and look at our points here, as we had quite the shakeup last week. Jake Ham with 3 wins on the season, Patrick Drabick, Jeremy Gardner, Timothy Peters with 1. Levi McCarty claims number 2 on the season last week at Darlington. Jake Ellingson retains a plus 57 above the cut line. Mike Browning up here in the standings, and a very good spot going into tonight, as well as Craig Bontrager, plus 27, plus 23. But the battle gets hot once you get closer to the cut line. Michael McCarthy falls back to just plus 16 after last week. Steve McDonald, Jamie Mullins, George Jewell all on the hot seat, while Chance Taylor, David Duke, and Michael Kostick are all within reach. Sky, what do we expect to see from some of these drivers tonight?
Yeah, guys who are up there in points like Mike Brown and Craig Bontrager are really going to need to lock themselves in tonight, have good races, not mess it up, and not drop below the cut line. Those are the guys we're really going to be watching, along with the guys who are just below it, like Chance Taylor and David Duke.
Well, it's about that time. Let's send it over to our Navy veteran, Jared Ashley, for our national anthem. We'll be right back with our starting grid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you once again, Jared Ashley, for that rendition of our nation's anthem. Gritting is ready to go, and taking the Jam Printing and Promotions Poll Award is going to be the 49 of Craig Bontrager with a 22.966. Timothy Peters will be on the outside in number 2 spot with a 22.958. Tyler Justice on the 33 will take up the inside row of the second lane with the 87 of Jake Ham in 4th. 5th starting spot goes to last season's winner, Jeremy Gardner, in the 42, next to the 36 of George Jewell in 6th. 7th will go to Brandon Wallace in the 99, a good qualifying effort for him tonight, next to Levi McCarty, last week's winner. 9th goes to Barrett Morton in the 9 machine, next to Logan Sturgeon in the 26 for 10th.
And the rest of your field tonight starts in 11th with Jamie Mullins in the 66, Michael McCarthy in 12th on his outside in the 22. James Kaufman will roll off 13th tonight. He's driving the 25. Mike Browning, one of those drivers just above the cut line, 14th in the 4. Chuck Phelps is going to roll off inside the top 15 tonight in 15th with James Goshen on his outside in 16th in the 85. Patrick Drabick needs a good race tonight. He's 17th in the 07. Stephen McDonald, 18th in the 68. Last cars in your top 20 are going to be Jamie Barkas in the 15, starting 19th. Charles Abert in the 7 and 20th. And last car on the field tonight will be Matt Knights in the 64.
So our pole setter on the night, currently sitting in 8th on the point standings. I believe this will be an additional bonus point on the night too, helping himself out here for the 49 team. One thing we did forget to mention last week when you were away, Sky, Darlington was a qualifying race for the last Dash for Cash race of the season. Of course, being tonight here at Dover, our top 5 finishers at Darlington will be competing for that Dash for Cash prize. That'll be Levi McCarty, Jake Ham, Jeremy Gardner, Craig Bontrager. Daniel Cunningham would have made the list if he was out here on the field tonight. So it's a drive between 4 to see who's going to win that prize. Race analysis on the screen, 115 laps on the night, 35 mile per hour pit speed limit, 4 tire sets available, 2 green-white checkers if we need it with a 100% fuel load, and the Makoni fixed setup. And for all our knowledge, Sky, I'm hearing rumors about a 65 to 70 lap fuel stint. Coming around to the Geico restart zone, green flag is already away, and Craig Bontrager brings us to the line to start the race. And already sideways before turn 1, it was the 24.
That is a lot of cars piled up there. in the first corner and even make it around onto the back straightaway. That is going to be some damage for quite a few cars on the field before they even really got going.
Not how they want to start the race. The 24 got a good run on the restart, had to check up, and just the 26, not quite enough time to react to it. Barrett Morton goes sideways. There's not a whole lot of damaged trucks, just a lot of sideways trucks. Luckily, nobody really making contact with the wall or each other. Patrick Drabick mixed up in it. We've got the 68 of Stephen McDonald mixed up in it.
There were a couple harder hits further back. Jamie Barkas got into the side of Stephen McDonald pretty good. A lot of cars just kind of piling in there. That was a weird accident. 85, James Goshen's got a pretty big hole in the bumper as well. Same with Drabick.
Yeah, Drabick got a bigger hit than I thought he did there. Didn't even recognize the 75 of Chuck Feltz also mixed up in it. So, luckily though, aero is not the most important thing here at Dover. Being such a short track, you can get away with having some damage here and still completing the rest of the race. It's all about that suspension that you have to worry about.
One of the issues is the track is so short at only a mile. The pit road is also pretty short here. You don't have a lot of time to get the damage fixed before you get lapped, so these drivers are going to be kind of limited in what they can do on pit road.
Yeah, certainly. That is a huge factor in getting some of that damage repaired. So we've got quite a few down in the pits right now, starting with the 24 there at the bottom of your screen all the way back. About 8 cars here, 9 or so. It's, we'll see. Just keep an eye here and coming down the backstretch. They don't have a whole lot of time to get damage repaired. I want to say roughly a minute and 15 seconds is about as much damage as you can get done here if you're towards the front of the field. So we've got drivers already looking to make it off of pit road to beat the pace car with plenty of time. Levi McCarty's still sitting in the box. Looks like just about everybody else has gone through by now. Doesn't have a whole lot of time left to get out there.
No, and that was about half the field that came down there. That was a lot of cars that had to come down and take that repair. A lot of cars got it out with about 40-ish seconds left. Patrick Drabick, Levi McCarty both took about 55 and are now coming back on the track. So everyone's going to stay on the lead lap, but 9 of our 20 cars who took the green flag already having to fix damage, and they didn't even get through turn 1.
Well, the pace car lights are off again, so this will be our last pace lap here. Try this one more time. It's not too often that we see something like that happen here, Sky. Typically our Friday nights, pretty clean and green.
Yeah, it's been a while since I don't think we've really seen a lap 1 accident like that all season. We usually get pretty good green flag runs to start these things off. These drivers are certainly going to hope for a pretty good green flag one once we get back going here on lap 5.
That's one of those things about this banked straightaway. Very easy to get loose on these restarts with the cold tires especially. We're coming through turn 3 and 4 now. That pace car will be coming off momentarily. We'll see Barry the flagman with the green flag in hand. It's still going to be Craig Bontrager and Timothy Peters at the front of the pack. Green flag waves once more. And a big stack up towards the back. But luckily, everybody makes it to turn 1 this time.
And it's a big jump for Craig Bontrager in the 49. The restart zone here at Dover is in an interesting spot. It's kind of in the middle of turn 4, like it would be at a dirt track. So you're able to kind of arc it down through the corner, get a little extra speed on the inside. That's how Bontrager got away on the first lap, but he's already being reeled back in by Justice Peters and Jake Ham behind him.
Justice had a good run on the inside there of Timothy Peters. Luckily, Peters was able to keep the momentum around the outside, back up to that second spot, looking for first. Just behind, Jake Ham looks to the inside here. Contact now between the 87 and the 33. Tyler Justice almost collects it, but instead collects the 36. And it looks like possibly, I didn't quite catch who the other truck was. I think, looks like George Jewell involved.
Yeah, there were a couple other pretty big hits here. George Jewell was a 36. He got caught on the inside. Chuck Phelps also took a pretty big hit on the top. You're going to see that again. And yeah, Jake Ham just kind of slides up into the side of Tyler Justice. Tries to save it, so he's kind of still wheeling it. He's not holding the brakes, and that ends up in him going down the track, as you often do at Dover, and getting in a bigger accident.
That's exactly what I was trying to describe there pre-race, is how this track is a self-clearing track. Everything will pretty well move its way down to the bottom. On board now with George Jewell in the 36. You can see the contact just ahead there. Thinks he's clear. Looks like Justice has it, then just right in front of him. Big hit to the driver door from the 36. Nowhere to go.
No, I mean, those are some cars who were already involved in that first accident, so now they're going to have to fix even more damage, or in the case of some of these guys back here like Tyler Justice, George Jewell, they've just pulled it off the track. George Jewell's already out of the race. Tyler Justice is multiple laps down trying to fix damage. Bad start for a lot of cars in the field, and you got like, what, 5 more cars that are in again now trying to fix more damage. It's been hectic out here if you're not in the first 3 or 4 positions.
So this is a good situation for the 07 and the other drivers collected up in that first incident. Both Patrick Drabick, Levi McCarty still in pit road here, getting damage repaired from that. So it's working out in their favor. Obviously, you don't ever really want to be collected into a caution-causing incident, but it's ideal whenever they string back-to-back like that to be able to repair some of that damage a little bit further.
Yeah, and we're getting a couple cautions, so if you had damage from that first accident and you weren't involved in this one, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself, because that's going to let you get some more damage repaired compared to if we immediately had a 30 or 40 green flag lap run there. These cars are going to roll around and get stacked up because the pace car is getting ready to pull off this time, and we'll try again to get a couple laps in on lap 10.
A couple drivers still trying to catch up to the back of the pack here. Coming out of turn number 2. There's our driver cams on the night. Timothy Peters, James Goshen, Chuck Pegleg Feltz, and of course Patrick Drabick. We get on board with them occasionally throughout this race. You can see some of those drivers communicating with each other, with their team. Into turn 3 we go. Craig Bontrager, Peters still on the front row. Jeremy Gardner, Jamie Mullins will make up row 2. Barrett Morton, Brandon Wallace in row 3. See how this restart goes here, Sky.
That's what we're going to see. Bontrager, Peters. Bontrager is going to be on the inside into the restart zone, so he is going to get the chance to go first, and he will get a big jump. Green flag back in the air.
Ooh, and a possible lane change violation. That was right before the start-finish line for the 49, moving up to the high line. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see how that goes down. Timothy Peters right behind, though, and a look to the inside. A couple rows back here. Side by side through 3 and 4. Peters still all over the back bumper, though.
Peters has a lot of speed. He just hasn't had the laps to be able to get up to Bontrager yet, because we've had so many cautions in quick succession. If he gets a couple green flag laps here, I think Timothy Peters stands a great shot of getting around Craig Bontrager and trying to win another race this year.
Absolutely, and we've got more contact in the middle of the pack. That's going to be James Kaufman in the 25, gets sent around and backs it into the wall.
Third caution of the race on lap 12, and that thing seems to have some pretty decent damage to it. Was stuck in that outside wall. He's right behind Browning here, right in front of Patrick Drabick. We're going to see how this happens to him going down into turn 3 and 4. He was backwards in 4. It's a big lunge from Drabick, and he just gets into the back of him.
That is essentially the same thing that caused the last caution with Ham on the inside. Luckily, though, a little bit further back in the pack, doesn't collect anybody else. That 25, James Kaufman, he's not happy right now. I can tell you right that.
No, I wouldn't be happy if I was him either, if I just got put in the fence like that. lot of chaos in the back of this field. If you're like Bontrager and Peters, you're kind of just sitting up there like, man, what is going on back there? Because you haven't really gotten a shot to race yet. Bontrager gets away on the restarts. Peters reels him back in, and boom, caution. If we can get a few laps in, I think we'll have some really good racing here at the front of the pack. We just haven't been able to do that yet.
Bontrager certainly okay with what is happening, giving him the advantage on the most laps led for the race if he can keep it up here. But eventually we will see some green flag runs. That fuel window that we mentioned earlier, though, that's just getting extended right now. So at this rate, we might see a one-stop race.
I mean, yeah, I think a one-stop race is the strategy here, especially with the amount of cautions we've had. That is, I guess, not really wearing the tires at all. A lot of these guys haven't had to put any sort of pressure on their tires. They've just been running pace laps. That helps the tires. That helps the fuel. I think the pit stop, if we do see it on a one stop, is probably going to be anywhere from about halfway through the race to lap 75 or 80 would likely be the upper bound. But from there, it just kind of depends on strategy and how many cautions we get over the remaining 100 laps of this race.
On top of when the caution falls, there's a lot more strategy to it than we would imagine. We'll just have to take it moment by moment and see who has the best strategy on these pit cycles, but doubled up once more into turn 1 and 2. And Kaufman in the 25 is back out on track. Spent 51 seconds in the pits getting that damage repaired. Again, keep in mind, the aero is not that important here at Dover.
Yeah, and with the playoffs, any point matters, really. So when you've already got 3 guys who are out of the race or a ton of laps down, like Justice, Jewell, and Chuck Feltz, you really just need to be turning laps, not go behind them if one of them goes back out on the racetrack.
You're absolutely correct about that. But here we go, back into turn 3. Pace car will come off. We'll see if we can do it again. Bontrager, Peters still on the front row. Gardner, Morton, McCarthy, Wallace still making up the rows behind. In the restart zone they go. Green flag in the air once more, and a big jump from the inside line. Even Jeremy Gardner's going to get door-to-door with Timothy Peters this time.
I think this is kind of like a short track where the most dominant line on the restarts is right around the bottom because it lets you get so much of a run. And now big speed out of Jeremy Gardner. He sent it right under the 49 of Craig Bontrager. He's going to be looking for position down here through 3 and 4. He's got the inside. Is he clear? He is. New leader, Jeremy Gardner.
Jeremy Gardner assumes the lead here, as well as Michael McCarthy right behind. Bontrager gets around Peters that time by. Same exact move as we saw from the 42. Still side by side for Peters and Morton.
Battle's going on further back, but Bontrager doesn't want to let Gardner go just yet. 42 has the lead for now, but the 49 is still there on his bumper. And if you look a little bit back, watch out for Michael McCarthy. He's gone from 12th to 3rd, even with all the cautions. He is closing up to the back of these top 2.
On board now with the 22, Michael McCarthy on the InVets in-car camera. You can see it's single file now, but it won't be later. And as soon as one of these drivers makes even the slightest mistake, you've got way too many cars very close. Oh, and another yellow flag on the field. It looks like the 99 of Brandon Wallace got sent around.
He started pretty highly in this race, and it's not gone well for him so far because now he's going to be at the back. We're going to get a replay of this hopefully soon. And, ooh, that was a really nasty netcode accident. You'll see it here with Jake Ham. He's going to come up down on the inside of this 80-99 car. And you can't really tell from that angle, but it was some bad netcode.
You could nearly see it there. There's about 1.5 to 2 feet between those trucks. This will give us a better angle this time, hopefully. Sitting on board the 87. Here's the move to the inside. Still had room. It looked like Ham might have came up. And I don't know. It's so hard to say. There's a lot of room there still to be had between those trucks.
Yeah, that's just a weird one because there wasn't contact there between either of those two cars. That is just iRacing deciding it really does not like the 99 car that wants them in the wall.
So this has potential implications for the 87. If a driver causes an incident, they do receive an EOL, and if they cause a second incident, it is a black flag and a hold under green by the rule book. We'll have to keep an eye on, the calls from race control to see if they're going to penalize the 87 here, give that black flag and the green hold. Doesn't quite look like it right now. So I would have to say that's going to turn up to be just a racing incident or netcode issue. We'll keep an eye on that, though.
I think that was definitely a little bit of a netcode issue there. We're going to get the field re-racked, but I want to give a little bit of a shout out to some of the guys who, despite the chaos, have managed to claw their way up through the field here. Most notably, Michael McCarthy, as I mentioned, needs a good race to move up in the points. He's gone from 12th to 3rd, making that happen in the early stages of this race. He's up to the field. He's got a clean truck, and at this point in this race, that is about all you can ask for. Jamie Mullins has gone 11th to 7th as well, and James Goshen got caught up in some wrecks. He's already gotten that thing back up to 9th. See him right there. He is doing a good job to recover from some early accidents.
That's going to be what's most important here is how well you can recover. Cautions are going to be abundant at this rate. Only 21 laps in. I believe that's caution number 4, if my count is correct. At least 3.
Yeah, that is number 4, I believe. And some of these guys who are up here who are doing good have already fixed damage. Like Michael McCarthy, James Goshen, and then Logan Sturgeon in 7th. Were all in that first lap accident. They all had to come down to the pits, fix a bunch of damage, and yet despite that, they've gotten it out pretty good. And now they're able to run up here with the leaders.
So we've got a new leader to lead us to this green flag. Jeremy Gardner will start on the inside. This will put Craig Bontrager on the outside for the first time tonight. Into turn number 3. Pace car comes down into pit road once more. We'll see if Jeremy Gardner can put down a huge head start like we've seen from Bontrager. Into the InVets restart zone we go. Green flag in the air again. Gardner not quite getting the jump that we saw from the 49. They'll be door-to-door into turn number 1. And there goes Gardner with the advantage through the corner.
Yeah, he managed to keep it side by side getting down into the corner, but once he got through, he was gone. That inside is such an advantage down into 1 and 2. You saw it happen for Gardner. You saw Michael McCarthy pull his way around there. And now Timothy Peters lurking back for 3rd. Finally getting that side-by-side battle with Bontrager, and while the 49 has the run off the corner, that 46 looks like he's on a train there on the inside, and he's going to get clear onto the back straightaway.
Bontrager had a huge run down the front stretch there and immediately got shut down by the 22 in front. Now looking to the inside of the 46 of Peters. Bontrager trying to get the switchback going. And will he get clear before turn 1? He does not. Still door-to-door. Bontrager will have the advantage coming out of the corner, but it looks like the 46 is going to hold it right there on that right rear quarter panel.
They are still racing side by side. It's been tight for a while now. We'll see if Bontrager can close back up to those two of Gardner and McCarthy, who just took his spot. Meanwhile, a little further back, here comes Barrett Morton up into 4th. And now Jake Ham's still looking after that last accident. He's going for 5th. That inside line seems to really be the dominant line right now. Nobody's been able to run up any higher and make it work. All about running right on the bottom.
We'll see eventually if that top line will have any sort of momentum going through the race. Tire wear is going to be a factor for certain. Barrett Morton gets nearly clear. The 46, not quite enough. Oh, and a big wiggle coming out of Peters. Also a little bit further back in the field here. Now Barrett Morton finally clear the 46.
Single file out here in the top 5. Peters has the speed, but he needs to be on the inside to make it happen, and so far he has not been on the inside to make it happen. Jake Ham a little up the track there. That might open the door for Mullins behind him, but it won't. Just watching TJ Peters on the onboard there, looking a little bit higher into that corner. He's going to duck it down to the bottom on exit. Doesn't end up working out for him here. He's still 5th, looking at the bumper of Barrett Morton.
Eventually, we'll see that battle start to form up a little bit more, but right now, Peter's still under attack on the inside line. Jake Ham right there.
Caution is out. Further back, that is for James Kaufman again.
Ooh, and a lot more damage this time. That front left fender completely missing. Oh, and Brandon Wallace almost gets into the passenger side there.
Oh, and yeah, he's got a blown engine. That is James Kaufman done for the race. Drabic was also stopped, and Drabic has quit out of the race after this, so we're going to see what happens. Oh, Drabic crashed in front of him, and this was trying to avoid the slow 07 car. So we've got 2 cars out of the race on this. Drabic and James Kaufman. We're going to have to figure out how that happened.
Taking a look here, we've got a battle between Drabic and the 24 of McCarty. Some contact into 1, sends Drabic high up on the track through 1 and 2. Gets back down behind, but just gets loose right behind the 24. Like you said, that's the 25 trying to make an avoidance there work. Just couldn't quite collect it himself.
No, he just kind of sent it straight back into the wall. We'll see this one more time here for the 07 and the 24, and then eventually the 25 behind. It's just a little bit of contact on entry, but that's all it really takes for Drabic to get kind of out of place, and he hits McCarty on the exit too, which does not help. Wrecks it into the fence, and no contact with Kaufman. He just lost it trying to hold on to the car and not back it into Drabic. While we're here and some cars are making pit stops, I want to give a shout out to one of our partners here at Goat Locker Racing, that being Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to their students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the U.S. with 23 campuses. They are the title sponsor of the Spring Series, and they're always a very large partner at Goat Locker Racing, and we thank them for all they do for the series. Got some cars coming off pit road there.
I'd like to thank Lincoln Tech for everything they do here and being a partner with Goat Locker Racing season after season. Typically, we see that 27 of Jake Ellingson repping the Lincoln Tech paint scheme, not on the track tonight. We'll likely see Ellingson back next week. But for now, we got a few more pace laps here. We'll see what happens once we get stacked back up and try to go for green one more time. We're back up through 1 and 2.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens here. Cars are getting stacked and are getting ready to go up here at the front. It's Gardner, McCarthy, Bontrager, Barrett Morton, and Timothy Peters. We're gonna read off some of the cars that made pit stops there. A lot of them just took fuel, but a couple cars took tires. Jake Ham came down, put 4 on it. Mike Browning came down, put 4 on it. Fuel only for Stephen McDonald. James Goshen as well, taking 4 tires, and then a couple other cars, Knights, McCarty, both coming down for damage repair. Pace car is off. We are moving into the restart zone. It's going to be Gardner on the inside. Let's see if he gets a better jump. He will. Green flag, back out. Gardner is going to hold that advantage down into 1 and 2. Great run into there for him. That is going to drop McCarty back a couple spots. Barrett Morton in 3rd, Bontrager in 4th, and now Barrett Morton is up the inside. He'll be looking for 2nd on that 22 car. And the caution is already out. Stephen McDonald and Levi McCarty are in a pile in the inside wall. And now Stephen McDonald is going to hit the outside wall for good measure. We're going to get a replay on that right here. This is right at the back of the field. We're going to watch Stephen McDonald. He's coming around. He's got, he's turned by the 85 of Goshen first. Drifts it up the track. He's on the brakes, but this track just kind of sucks you back down to the inside when you get loose, and that is how Levi McCarty gets caught up in it on the inside. Nowhere to go for that 24 car. We're going to see it once again on the onboard here. He was probably feeling like he wasn't going to get in an accident because he's starting so far at the back, and yeah, he just tries to dodge it low. Chuck Feltz barely squeaks through on the inside, and it's the 68 coming down across his nose. Not a lot he could have done about that. I'm not sure how he could have dodged that. That is going to be a lot of damage for both of these cars, which is going to kind of affect how they drive, and it's going to definitely result in a long pit stop here. You can see the track getting a little darker. Clouds kind of moving over here, putting the track in the shade a little bit. That is going to drop the track temp a bit, which has been smoking. We're running 106 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Tires are wearing out. Cars are slipping and sliding, and that has really been the cause of some of these accidents today. Clouds moved over the track briefly there. The sun already starting to come back out. With how hot the track is, though, I think some of these drivers would certainly like to get those clouds moving back over the racetrack right now. So we are going to find out. Yeah, we're already down another degree. We're going to find out how this shakes out on the restart. It's Jeremy Gardner still in first. Michael McCarthy still second. Barrett Morton was really trying to make that move, but he couldn't get it done before the caution came out. We'll see if he can re-rack on that inside behind Gardner and get the position. Going back from there a little further, Craig Bontrager still in fourth. He started on pole. He's going to be looking to get back up there. Timothy Peters fifth. Logan Sturgeon sixth. Jake Ham 7th, Jamie Barkas 8th, Mike Browning 9th, James Goshen 10th. Or my bad, James Goshen has come down the pit, so it's going to be Jamie Mullins 10th, James Goshen 11th, and that is how they stack up. We're going to get back rolling on lap 36.
So a lot of drivers already out of this race. This field is narrowing down even more than how we started, Sky.
It is for sure. We've lost Feltz, Kaufman, Drabick, Tyler Justice, George Jewell as well. We've got a couple other cars like McCarty and Brandon Wallace who have had to take extended damage repair. And Levi McCarty is out of the race too, so he is going to be gone. We are down to 14, and Brandon Wallace is in the pit, so we're going to be down to 13 on the lead lap this time around.
So this race here could have some serious implications on the point standings. Luckily, a lot of these drivers that are out of this race already have wins and are locked in, but this will make that cut line chase even more heated. Pace car is off. Jeremy Gardner will bring us to the green flag again. Michael McCarthy on the outside. Green flag in the air, and away goes the inside line. There's that jump that we saw Craig Bontrager.
What a jump what a jump for Gardner there. He really got gone. And now Barrett Morton will be able to take over that second spot. He'll get it this time on the restart. He is going to be trailed by Timothy Peters, rolling through on that bottom as well. McCarthy only now getting down back in fourth.
Peters finally found a way to get around the 22 here. Single file through our top 6, it looks like. See how long they can keep this green flag run going. Ham looking to the inside now, the 22. Let's see if he can complete this pass. He does not quite get there. He's going to stay right behind Michael McCarthy.
Battles further back. They're going side by side back there. That is Bontrager going back to 7th if Logan Sturgeon can get the move on him on the inside in that 26 machine. But Bontrager's doing a pretty good job of fighting back. Here comes Jake Ham moving through on Michael McCarthy. He's going to try to get up to 4th. He is on fresh tires. He pit 8 laps ago. We'll see if that new rubber can get him further up through the field.
Meanwhile, under fire, still going to take a shot at the next position up. McCarthy was all over the back bumper in third place. Peters backed it down just a touch to make sure nothing happened there. Jake Ham goes high up in the corner. Slide right back in, try to get some momentum here to go for the inside move in one. And he stays right behind.
Looking a little higher there is Jake Ham. He was going kind of like 3 rows up, higher than we've really seen anybody go all race. And I think he was trying to find some clean air there in the close confines of this racetrack. Big move for Michael McCarthy. He's going to get up the inside of Peters. He'll get that third spot back. We'll see if Peters can cut down to the inside of Jake Ham, or if Ham is going to continue to fight on the inside. Right now, advantage 87, but the 46 has the run down the straight.
And here's where we'll start to see a group separate. McCarthy sends it in. McCarthy, rather, sends it in on Barrett Morton. He's going to collect that second spot for the time being. The 9 comes back around the outside with the speed, but not enough to get back in front of the 22. Now that opening on that bottom line is there for Barrett Morton. He'll slide back into third. Meanwhile, Jake Ham, Timothy Peters still battling it out side by side for that fourth place spot.
They are. I think that outside line is starting to come in a little more as the race has gone on. We saw earlier the inside was the only line you could make work. You couldn't even really defend running that higher line. Here's Timothy Peters. He's running that higher line that was kind of no man's land for the first bit of the race, and he's been able to hold off Jake Ham for about 3 or 4 laps now. I think Ham is finally going to get that spot, but the outside starting to come in. Maybe the track getting a little cloudier and the temps lowering will help that top.
Meanwhile, it's time for Barrett Morton to try to get back to that second place spot on the inside now. Michael McCarthy, door to door. McCarthy's got more speed coming around the outside, has to lift and not get into the wall. That's going to check up the 87 of Ham. Barrett Morton gets right back to second place, but a big gap now, nearly a half second to our leader, Jeremy Gardner.
Jake Ham is going to want to be moving up through the field here if he wants to take advantage of that fresh rubber that he has. It's not great for him to take fresh tires and still be sitting back here in fourth. He's going to run the top in 1 and 2. That's going to get him a run down the straightaway so he can get side by side with McCarthy. And whoa, that car is really working on the top now, isn't it? He's going to make a pass on the outside. I'm not sure if we've seen one of those today. He'll get up to third, sight set on Barrett Morton, P2.
That cloud coverage there in turns 3 and 4 helping out the 87 quite a bit. Meanwhile, turns 1 and 2 still under the sunlight. So we'll see a slight change in where that line will be from corner to corner. Just as you mentioned, Ham getting a big run now, trying to close that gap up to Jeremy Gardner and Barrett Morton.
Now McCarthy is running a little bit higher too. He's got Timothy Peters under him in the 46, and he's able to get a nice run down the straightaway and take that spot. We're definitely seeing a bit of a switch point where that high line is coming in more than the top. If Jake Ham can make it work on fresh tires, we're going to see if some of these cars further back can make it work on the older rubber. Right now, Jeremy Gardner's still pulling away, but Jake Ham is closing in rapidly on the 9 of Barrett Morton. Look at that.
There's a whole lot of speed in the 87 right now. We'll see if he can keep that going. A huge advantage on the tires versus our top 2, but it's taken him a while to get back up here. You have to wonder, is Ham going to use up too much tire trying to catch up?
Well, you can certainly use up tire when you're running the top here. That's one of the main downsides of running that higher line. It certainly gets you more speed down the straightaway, but you can burn up the rubber by running that longer way around the racetrack. Ham is trying to bank it a little lower on exit, try to maximize the run off that he gets. A little bit of an arc strategy, diamonding the corner, if you will. Hasn't worked yet, but he's got a massive run this time out of 2. He's up the inside of the 9 of Barrett Morton, and he is going to make a big lunge clear into 3.
Sends it way late into the brake zone, and it pays off. Now Ham just has to focus on running the perfect line to close that 0.8 seconds of a gap to Jeremy Gardner. Meanwhile, Timothy Peters falls back behind. That's looks like the 66 of Jamie Mullins. Yes, he's working his way up through the field now with a whole lot of speed.
was going to say, haven't seen him in the top 5 so far this race. Good drive on this stint for him, pulling it up into P4. Got a ways to go until he can challenge that 9 car of Barrett Morton. But he's another one of those drivers like Jake Ham that took fresh tires on that last restart. And if he can make them work in the same way that Jake Ham is, he might be able to get around that 9 car pretty quick. Almost a moment at the back there.
That was the 22 loose out of turn number 2. Nearly gets into the wall. I think he actually tapped that right rear quarter panel to the wall. Timothy Peters will get back around, and now McCarthy under fire from Bontrager, our pole setter on the night. Bontrager's going to get the position as well, so that was a cleaning quick pass there, and another time loose for the 22. Some driving issues now on these older tires.
Yeah, he scraped the wall right there, and that cost him a lot of time out of the corner. He is not making this top work like the cars who are on newer tires are, because he's going to lose a spot back there. That's Jamie Barkis, and now James Goshen is going to go around him. He's running in 9th right now, but what running in 9th doesn't tell you is that we only have 13 cars on the lead lap. Sounds more impressive than it is in a race like this. He is free-falling through the field.
For Mike Browning going around the outside here. McCarthy still trying to find some sort of level of grip to make this 22 work. Certainly will be taking some tires if we see another caution, but he's been out here just as long as our leader. Jeremy Gardner still with the advantage, but that gap has closed. It is 0.3 of a second now to the front bumper of Jake Ham.
Yeah, that gap is way, way down for the 87 car as he moves up towards Gardner. He's starting to get some wear on those tires. He's been on them for 25 laps now, but it's 56 for Gardner. The one thing that's going to kind of make this tire strategy interesting is I think everybody needs one more pit stop here. It would be about 85 laps or so if Jake Ham went to the end, which is outside the fuel window for sure, with what we've been seeing so far this race. So it's going to be a little bit of a pitch strategy game if we don't have another caution. I think everyone will need to come down one more time, and we'll see, will the longer stint of Jake Ham work, or will Jeremy Gardner, who I assume will pit earlier, end up in front?
At this point, with the caution laps that we've had, I would assume Gardner looking to bring it down pit road right around lap 75 or 80, extending the fuel window just a touch, not a whole lot, but it does help. Craig Bontrager gets a little bit loose now in front of the 15 of Barkis. That gap will close up quite a bit. James Goshen right behind, looking to take advantage of the situation following the 15. There goes Bontrager. Found some sort of grip on the outside there. Able to pull away, get back clear of the 15.
We're over halfway through this race now. The laps really fly down when you're at Dover. We run 115, kind of like an intermediate, but the laps go so quick. Drivers, fastest laps in the mid-23s. They're running in the mid-24s right now. And as we cross the halfway point of this race, on lap 60, Jake Ham continues to try to get around Jeremy Gardner for the lead of this race.
And this might be the opportunity. Here we go, closing the gap even more. Ham sticks to the outside. Jeremy Gardner trying to defend as best as he can. Ham drops down to the bottom of the track. Just not quite enough speed. Will he try to go inside through one? No, still behind the 42. Still higher up on the racetrack. A little bit of dirty air at play now for the 87 as Jeremy Gardner keeps that bumper right in front.
Dirty air definitely plays a role here with this track. It's so tight. The banking is so high, you really got to run a completely different line if you don't want to have that dirty air kind of cutting your nose off, holding you up. Jake Ham's running into that issue right now where it's really hurting his entry and exit out of the corner. And Gardner's going to get in the fence. You'd think that would be an opportunity for Ham to get around him, but instead the 87 is going to close back up to the bumper, and he'll try to do a bit of a switch back down the front straightaway. He's tight. It won't work, and Gardner gets away with one to hold the lead.
The dice rolled in the 42's favor there. That is not too often that you see a mistake like that not be taken advantage of. But look at this. That is a huge gap from Gardner, Ham, Mullins, all the way back to the 9 of Barrett Morton. That is nearly a full straightaway for these 3 trucks.
These guys have really gotten away, and Gardner's the most impressive one because he's doing this on about 30 lap older tires than the 2 behind him who have used that fresh rubber up. As Ham continues to push and challenge Gardner, that has allowed the 66 of Mullins, who's been a little bit nicer on those new tires, to continue to close in. We're approaching 50 to go. Let's see what the 66 can do.
So you can see exactly what the 87 is doing here, taking it high up on the track through the corners and then cutting it down on the corner exit, trying to gain as much speed as possible. Looks like we've got a couple takers for our first pit cycle. Looks like the 22 of Michael McCarthy is going to bring it down for some fresh tires. The 9 of Barrett Morton also in pit road. So it's time to finally see that pit cycle come to play here, Sky.
Yeah, this is a bit of an undercut for those 2 cars. We had the pit strategy or the pit cycle as about 65 to 70 laps here. That was before we had about 5 or 6 cautions in there. Those caution laps really lengthened the run here. So 65 laps is a bit of an undercut. We can see these drivers push it quite a bit further here. And I think for some of these cars, we definitely will see them push it quite a bit further here.
From this point, we will not have another pit stop required for fuel. So anybody pitting at this point and beyond will be able to make it to the very end of our 115 laps. So it'll be interesting to see when Gardner and Ham decide to bring it down, because there goes Barrett Morton, who just pitted for those tires, making easy work of the 66 of Mullins. You can see the speed difference on display, and it is incredible, Sky.
Yeah, let's see if him passing some of these cars gives him a little more incentive to pit. I want to be going that fast too, says Jamie Mullins. He's going to pit a little later, I think, because he's on fresh tires. I lied. He is going to pit right now and do exactly what I said. He's going to come down to take fresh rubber. I thought he would have stayed out a little bit later because he pit about 35 laps ago at the same time as Jake Ham, but he just saw the 9 blow past him, and he decided he wants to go fast too. He'll get on this strategy with 45 to go.
And it's so hard to try to make that call sometimes because you never know what could happen on the track. And right now we've got a battle forming, but there goes Barrett Morton once more. And that's those fresh tires just blown it away here. And here comes the 99 of Brandon Wallace behind Jeremy Gardner and Jake Ham. We'll be able to see how those tires are working for the 99. Apologize, the 99 just got passed by our leaders.
He is going to go 1 lap down. He's the driver who's had some issues. He was involved in some cautions. He's pit 6 times today already, trying to fix damage. Him and Matt Knights, it's a good recovery from them to even be in the top 10 right now, sticking around on the lead lap. And here comes your leader, Jeremy Gardner, makes the turn down on lap 71.
So finally electing to take tires and the rest of the fuel needed for the race. Jake Ham is going to continue to turn laps out there. We'll have to keep an eye on the 87, see when Ham finally brings it down, as he still has some time, only 42 laps right now on the tires for our top 4. Jake Ham, James Goshen, Mike Browning, Jamie Barkas, all on the same strategy here. We'll see how long they keep it out, and will it pay off at the end of this race. Jeremy Gardner finally into the box here. Right side goes up. Timothy Peters as well. Craig Bontrager right there. And the left side's now on Gardner. And away goes the 42.
This is going to come down to pit strategy for sure between these pit stops, if we do not have a caution. And I have to say if, because we've seen about 6 of them already this race. All it takes is one driver to get loose out of the corner, like that 85 car at Goshen did right there, and you've got a yellow. And right there, caution is out. As I say that, it is Timothy Peters around, and that's going to really hurt some of these guys who just pit, like Craig Bontrager, who's now 1 lap down, and all these other guys who are going to have to take the waiver round.
That leaves us with only 6 cars on the lead lap, Sky. This is not what this field wanted to see right now.
No, some of these guys are going to get the wave round, but if you are 2 down, if you are McCarty, if you are Bontrager, Timothy Peters, certainly, because he just caused the accident. It is going to be the absolute worst thing possible for your race. Just cold tires there for the 46 car. Like I said, I was about to say the track temp is heating up. We're at 108. That can be dangerous on cold tires. It was right there. Jake Ham coming into the pits now.
Luckily, the 46 not making contact with the wall, but because of how narrow Dover is, he's still close enough to the racing line to bring out that yellow flag. Now it's time for the 87 to Ham to bring it down pit road. Goshen behind, Mike Browning behind. All of our leaders, well, all of our lead lap cars will bring it down here. Get some fresh tires. We won't see such an advantage now for these drivers. A little bit more even on the tires, but they're still going to have that advantage of about 4 laps or so.
It looks like Bontrager, McCarthy, and Peters are all going to get a wave around, but they are going to still come out of this 1 lap down. So those drivers caught the worst of it. They're going to need another caution if they want to be back in this race. Barrett Morton, Brandon Wallace, Jeremy Gardner. Well, Brandon Wallace is actually going to pit, so I take that one back. But Barrett Morton, Jeremy Gardner, and Jamie Mullins are all going to get that lap back. So we're going to have, it looks like about 10 on the lead lap here once we get back rolling.
I believe even Craig Bontrager might get the lucky dog after the waiver rounds. So keep an eye on the 49. But while we have a second, let's continue to thank some of our sponsors here for our Friday nights. We'll start with SAVE22, our title sponsor on the night. SAVE22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars. That is shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. SAVE. And as I mentioned there, the title sponsor here of our Friday nights. So big thank you to SAVE22 for being a part of this. As well as Jam Printing and Promotions, taking over the Poll Award for us. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They've been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Always on that 07 of Patrick Drabick, who unfortunately had an early exit on the night. We will not see the Jam Printing and Promotion truck in winner's circle. So that'll allow somebody else up here to make way into the points chase here. As that cutoff line, it is hot under fire right now. Jake Ham on the inside, James Goshen on the outside. Green flag is in the air, and we're missing about half the field from the frame, but we're away once more. Jake Ham got the jump that he wanted right there. A big advantage going into turn 1 over James Goshen, who elects to take it through the middle of the corner, but it's going to drop it down to that bottom line in turn 2. Jake Ham gets a good drive off, and he's not under a challenge yet from the 85.
Well, he's going to be under a challenge from the 85 soon, because that 85 car is really going. And the advantage for these top few cars is that these are the guys who just got to pit. They're on anywhere from, I believe, about 5 to 10 lap fresher tires than the guys who restarted in the back half of the top 10. So if you're someone back there like Gardner, you've got to not only overcome having older tires, but pass all the cars on newer tires if you want to win. Here is the move for the lead. Goshen's got it over Ham.
So Ham sends it deep into the corner. Doesn't pay off that time. He's going to have to adjust that line, but it's a battle behind for Logan Sturgeon and Mike Browning. Sturgeon gets a good run around the inside. Now he's going to get the 2-for-1 special. Looking to take away that second spot now from Jake Ham, and he's going to do it. He gets clear of the 87 in turn 3.
Big move for that 26. Ham is going to try to drop down in front of Browning, and he will. He'll get clear back there in P3. Now it's Browning and Barkis running 4th and 5th, but Barkis has fallen back. The top 4 have done a really good job of getting away right now, and it's James Goshen clear out in front of the field. He's looking for his first win of the season.
We've kept our eye on the Bearded Wonder as he's made his way through the field, now leading his 3rd lap so far. Started all the way back in 16th on the night. And keep in mind, we only had 21 cars on the field. A little bit of a battle starting to form back here around the 6th place spot. It's going to be Jamie Barkus back on a replay here. We'll take a look. The 15 on the outside, the 46, and almost it looked like Netcode once more got a hold of the 15 this time. Didn't quite look like contact between the 15 and the 46, but that's going to send Barkus back and now under fire from the 9 of Barrett Morton.
Netcode for sure, but it was a great save. Looking up a little further towards the front of the field, the only one of these top 3 in the playoff picture is Mike Browning. He came into this 27 above the cut. Third place finish today should lock him in. It's been a great season for him, and he'll be happy to make the playoffs if he just keeps doing what he's doing tonight. But looking at your top 2, James Goshen and Sturgeon are both nowhere near your cutoff line in points. James Goshen's not in the top 14, neither is Sturgeon. These are 2 drivers who have the potential to completely turn their seasons around tonight if they can get a victory here.
And lock themselves into the playoffs. That will leave a limited amount of opportunity for some of these other drivers that were so close to the cutoff right now. We only have one more race next week before we start getting into our playoff bracket. Goshen, Sturgeon, like you said, just a perfect opportunity to flip the script entirely.
And that's going to hurt some of those bubble drivers, guys like George Jewell, Chance Taylor, dudes who are right below the cut line or right above it. George Jewell especially came into this race only 5 above, 88 laps down with an early accident. He's 20th. That's not going to help him at all. Steve McDonald also out early. He was just barely above the cut line. So there are some guys who are looking at James Goshen trying to jump his way up into the playoff field and are thinking, oh no, this does not look good for me.
And one thing to mention too, Sky, is our Dash for Cash drivers. Levi McCarty, he's out of the race. Jake Ham, Jeremy Gardner battling up here around that 4th position. And then Craig Bontrager, who sits 1 lap down. So only 3 out of our 4 that made the field tonight going for that Dash for Cash prize. And really only 2 of them in the picture right now.
Yeah, Bontrager is going to need that lap back if he wants to give any sort of challenge for that. James Gardner is doing, or my bad, Jeremy Gardner is doing what he needs to do. He's got around Jamie Barkus there in 6th, moved his way up into the 5th position, and he's now looking at Jake Ham, the driver he needs to pass for the Dash for Cash. While Gardner's tires are about 4 laps older, he got caught out by that timing of the caution. He is closing in. Watch for him to try to make a move to claim that extra money at the end of the night.
Not to mention having the 46 of Timothy Peters 1 lap down in front of him. That's a 1.5 second gap for Gardner to claim that Dash for Cash prize. So Jeremy Gardner just outside of the top 3, but still in a position for at least some sort of, I would consider that a prize.
I would for sure. One. Anything that goes in the bank account's a pretty nice prize.
So single filed out now. James Goshen with a 1 second lead over Logan Sturgeon. And we're coming to the closing laps here, Sky. Lap 91 has started here as the 85 goes through turns 1 and 2 with just a massive lead. One of the bigger leads that we've seen so far tonight.
Yeah, he's pulled out a whole second over Logan Sturgeon behind him. Got to be feeling really good about where he is with 23 laps to go. If we don't get another caution, James Goshen is going to need about 10 minutes of perfect driving, and he'll be able to claim his first win of the season. He'll be able to lock himself into the playoff, and he'll be putting himself in a great position for the rest of the season. All he needs to do is hold this gap and seal the deal.
What Goshen needs right now, just as you mentioned, a good green flag run to the end. So I'm going to have to ask you to stop saying that word, Sky. Last time it didn't work out for us. We need clean and green from here on out to see that 85 take home the win. And just still extending that lead nearly 1.5 seconds now. And Browning behind Sturgeon. That gap is also getting slightly bigger as the laps tick away, just over a half second between second and third.
The gap continues to grow, and that's good news for Goshen. The gap is shrinking back there, 4th and 5th. Gardner is slowly getting closer to Jake Ham, but Jake Ham is getting closer to Browning up in front, so that might be a battle where Ham is trying to get up to 3rd to get away from the 42, but the 42 is still trying to reel him in to get that position.
So what we saw hurting Gardner in the 42 was having the dirty air off of Timothy Peters. Now the 42 can solely focus on driving, as Ham is the one that needs to navigate that dirty air as he's on the inside here of the 49 at Bontrager. He'll get clear coming down the front stretch, but there's Mike Browning just ahead, so he's got that one to battle with as well. This will be a good opportunity for Jeremy Gardner to start mounting that comeback and see if he can get up here to really battle Jake Ham at the end of this race.
He's trying. He's starting to close in. He might have been saving his tires a little bit, and now that we're under 20 to go and the gloves are coming off, Jake Ham is going for it, and now he'll look to the inside of one car. That's Mike Browning. He'll get rid of him pretty easily. Jake Ham up to 3rd, sight set on Logan Sturgeon in 2nd. And if he can get that spot, oh yeah, well, that's going to help Jake Ham, and he'll get 2nd. 2 cars, quick work. He might have something for Goshen here, 17 to go.
The laps keep ticking away. James Goshen certainly keeping an eye on that rearview mirror. As Jake Ham always a threat every week on the track. That is indeed how you get 3 wins on the season. Will Ham be able to make it 4? Will Goshen insert himself as the caution comes out? The worst case scenario for the 85, and it's the 46 of Timothy Peters slow on the back stretch.
With 15 to go, Goshen was doing everything he needed to do. He pulled out a big lead, and it's going to get evaporated. Timothy Peters, who was already a lap down, is going to have a little bit of contact back here with Jamie Barkus. It looks like, yep, gets into the wall. And then, Barkus just kind of cuts up on him down the straightaway there. And that sends the 46 around. Caution is out. Jake Ham saved those tires all run. Might have made the right decision.
James Goshen, Jake Ham, Mike Browning, they're all on the same stint here, but looks like we're going to have quite a bit of the field bringing it down. James Goshen being the one to lead him in. Mike Browning, he's in the mixture there as well. Jake Ham right behind. So we're all going to see some fresh tires up here at the front of this pack. And now it's just a full-on sprint to the very end.
It will be. I thought Ham might have had the advantage there, but with everyone coming down, that is going to neutralize it a little bit. The battle here is going to be the battle off pit road. We're going to see who gets out first, because that could have a massive impact in determining who is the winner of this race. Goshen is out of the box, Browning's out of the box, and Jake Ham gets out in the lead over James Goshen behind him. Mike Browning 3rd, Jeremy Gardner 4th, Logan Sturgeon 5th.
The 85 team spent a half second longer in the box than Jake Ham did. A 15.2 second stop for the 85 of James Goshen, 14.7 for Jake Ham. Even Mike Browning had a quick stop here with a 14.4. A little bit further back, the 66 of Jamie Mullins with a 14.1 being the quickest one in the field. That is not what you want to see for the 85. He'll be starting on the outside on this restart. That inside line has been getting such a dominant jump here. Hopefully Goshen has something in the back pocket here on this restart for Ham.
Yeah, Goshen needs this badly. He is 31 below the cut line right now. He's not really in point your way in territory. James Goshen is all in on either winning this race or winning next week at Nashville. And I think he is in a very good position this race to try to get it done much better than he probably would be at Nashville. So this is James Goshen's chance to make the playoffs. If he can get around Jake Ham in these last 13 laps, he's going to be, to use a March Madness phrase, he's going to be going dancing in the playoffs. That's what he needs to do. That's what he's going to hope to do. And he is going to lay it all on the line to get it done.
Sky, we've got an EOL penalty for the 15 for that incident there. So he'll be at the back of the pack coming to this restart, still trying to get sorted out here through turn 3 right before the pace car is about to dip off. Car's still shuffling around trying to find their position here. Looks like we've got it figured out now. Jake Ham on the inside, Goshen on the outside. Invet's restart zone coming up. Green flag in the air. There it goes, and there goes the inside line again. Goshen did get a decent jump on the outside. Doesn't fall back to third immediately. Mike Browning has Jeremy Gardner to the outside. Ham got a big jump, though.
No, he was able to get clear of Browning, which is going to really help. Gardner's now going to put the pressure on him from behind because he's got that car rolled up to third. It's a really big corner there for the 85. Gained a ton of time, and Ham didn't have the exit he would have envisioned. So that's going to close that gap down. Goshen's looking a little lower, trying to find some clean air, but Ham's got the run off. James Goshen going to need a big 3 and 4 to get it done here.
So Ham continues to try. As I'm saying that, he finally switches up the line and runs the bottom there. Last time by, used that top line. That's where Goshen made up all that ground. Ham quickly realizing the top line not faster right now on these fresh tires. 85 keeping it close, so within a quarter of a second of our leader. Jeremy Gardner now right there in the picture as well. This time by is going to bring us 10 to go. The laps are ticking away, Sky. It's crunch time.
Yeah, and hey, don't count out Browning either. We mentioned he came into this race 27 points above the cut line. He doesn't need a win. Fourth would probably lock him in, but he certainly wouldn't mind a win to get himself in victory lane. Gardner continuing to get closer to Goshen and Ham. Goshen and Ham both won races this year. Jake Ham has won 3. He's your points leader. Jeremy Gardner won at Kansas in the middle of some Jake Ham wins. James Goshen all on the line, and he's in the fence. That is going to allow Gardner to get the position for P2, and that might be the end of James Goshen's playoff hopes.
Just tried to drive the wheels off of it. Unfortunately, a little bit too wide on the exit. Goshen falls back to third. Now Gardner looking to challenge for that Dash for Cash prize. Ham, this is the closest they've been in quite some time. Will the 42, our Season 8 champion, have anything to say about Ham taking a 4th win on the season? We have very few laps left to do so.
Well, he was faster that last time around. It was a 23-1 for Gardner opposed to a 23-2 for Jake Ham. The 42 is slowly getting there. The question is, he might be going a little too slowly because we're going to have 6 to go this time around, and a bad run off the corner won't help the 42.
Certainly won't. But Gardner now falling back a bit, but finds some speed there across the bottom of 1 and 2. Looks like Ham's going to get a better drive off of the corner. At this point, Sky, as a driver sitting here staring at the back bumper, what's going through your mind? What do you have to focus on to make this happen? Get a little bit closer.
You just got to dig. That's all you got to do. You got to try to pressure this 87 car. When you're in a spot like this, especially at a track like this where we've seen dirty air play a factor, you have got to put the pressure on that 87. If you can't get the pass done straight up, you need to make that 87 car make a mistake and get that time. You don't want to make the mistake yourself, as Gardner did just there. He's going to put it in the fence a little bit. That'll cost him almost a 1/10 of a second, it looks like. And that is going to hurt his odds because he's over 3/10 back coming into turn 3. This time by, they'll take 3 to go.
3 more laps to go. Exit of turn 4. The gap does close here for Gardner. He's getting ever so close. Will he have enough here to the end to get to the 87 of Ham? Out of turn number 2 we go. Nearly contact with the wall once more. Gardner has to lift. But sends it in low here in turn 3. Gardner looking to find anything that he can right now. Ham still using that slightly modified middle to low line. He's found that speed again, using that middle to top line this time. There goes the distance here. Back into 3. A quarter of a second separates first and second. 2 seconds separate second and third. It is all out up here at the front. 1 to go. White flag is out. Can Jake Ham hold on? Can Jeremy Gardner pull it together here out of turn number 2? Still a quarter of a second gap here. We got some lap traffic up ahead, but it should be no factor. Into turn 3. Jake Ham will come out of turn 4, looking at the checkered flag and taking home win number 4 in Season 9, the SAVE22 Truck Series.
Jake Ham, first place in the first state, gets it done in Dover, led 23 laps. Kind of all over the field today, it feels like, but he got it up there when it matters most, taking advantage of that late caution to get it done.
23 laps led, but the most important one at the very end. This is a completely different type of situation from what we saw in Season 8. We've got drivers, a lot less drivers locked in on wins, where at this point, I think we saw pretty well the entire top 12 filled up with winners. This time, Jake Ham with 4 wins on the season. That's going to completely change everything from what we knew just a few months ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake Ham is the reason why we haven't had all these winners, because he's just dominated. He's had a great season. Jeremy Gardner gets P2 in this race, and Logan Sturgeon, he's also in win in your in territory. I think he's 30th in points or something like that right now, but a 3rd place for him. Pretty solid finish. First podium he's gotten this year.
That's one of the things to note about Jake Ham. He came into the playoffs uneligible to take home the championship, but he ended up showing out whenever it came to the end of the season. Won Pocono, he won IRP, and then, of course, the last race on the season, Darlington. He showed him that he believed he needed to be there, and now able to turn around to Season 9 and put on the same type of performance. But
and he wins. I was going to say, he wins the dash for cash, too, so he gets an extra $60.
There you go. Forgot about that to mention. So congratulations, Jake Ham, on that. We'll have the trifecta burnout here, but we'll send it to a quick commercial break. There it is. Burnouts for Bennett. All 3 of our podium finishers celebrating for Bennett. We're still thinking about you, buddy, every single week. But we'll send it to a quick commercial break now, and we'll be right back with our post-race coverage and interviews with our top 3 finishers. Stick around.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
And we're back live here at Dover Speedway for the SAVE22 Truck Series presented by Goat Locker Racing for our post-race coverage. and it was a doozy, Sky. This was the most cautions that we've seen all year, with 8 of them on the night, and quite a few early. Most importantly, those late race cautions changing the outcome here tonight. Jake Ham being able to take advantage, getting the win. Jeremy Gardner worked his way back up to second place there with a late race challenge. Just couldn't quite pull it together. Logan Sturgeon with, I believe, his best finish of the season, taking home the last podium position in third. Barrett Morton works his way back up to fourth for the 9 truck. Jamie Mullins in the 66 will take home fifth. Mike Browning continuing the great season that he's having with a 6th place finish. Jamie Barkas in the 15 will take home 7th. James Goshen, who we saw with a little over a 1-second lead, so close to taking home the win. That late race caution not helping the 85, falls back to 8 on the night. Brandon Wallace in the 99 will take home the 9th spot. And last but not least, in our top 10, Craig Bontrager in the 49.
11th tonight is going to be Matt Knights in the 64. Timothy Peters in 12th in the 46. Michael McCarthy 2 laps down in the 22 and 13th with Chuck Phelps in the 75, P14. Tyler Justice, first car out of the race in the 33 and 15th with Stephen McDonald in the 68 16th. Levi McCarty in the 24 17th. Patrick Drabick, not a great night for him in the 07. He's 18th. James Kaufman out early as well in the 19 and 25th. George Jewell, last finisher in the 36 in 20th. And then Charles Aber did not start the race tonight.
Charles Aber controlling our race control was quite busy tonight with that. So good thing to have him up there rather than on the track here for Dover. But let's get right into our interviews. I've got Jake Ham standing by after those celebratory burnouts. 23 laps led, Jake. That late rate caution really helping you out. What was, we had so much action at the beginning of this race. What were the thoughts going through your head as we saw caution after caution come out? It's not like we've seen throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be like that, and I feel absolutely horrible for getting into Justice there in that one caution. I sent it in too far, and I don't know if I went down on the apron and then rolled up, a couple feet too far. It was pretty difficult. It was, it's good to see the league to be accountable. Got an EOL there, was able to drive back, and just hate to see the late caution there at the very end. I was really rooting for Goshen. He had a good run there at the end. I think if we would have went green to the end that last run, James would be sitting here right now. So cautions played out in my favor. Tire strategy, pit strategy, it all worked out this time.
Well, I kind of mentioned it there while you were doing your burnout. You've got 4 wins on the season. You're carrying all that momentum that you had late last season. Are you going to be able to continue to carry this momentum into the playoffs where it's going to matter most for you this time? Last time, not eligible for the championship. This time, you're on top of the boards.
Yeah, I am. I sure hope so. I felt pretty confident, sitting in the sim and stepping into these races. It's nice to have James and Mike there with us. We're all racing together, and we keep each other, pretty level-headed during the races. We thought we were going to get a 1, 2, 3 there finish, and I think we can pull it together and keep each other accountable during the races, and hopefully finish strong and get in the playoffs and give them a run for their money there for the finish.
That sounds like a perfect plan on a perfectly executed season. Jake Ham, anybody you'd like to say thanks to for putting the 87 up here on the top step tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Lincoln Tech, SAVE22, the title sponsor of the series, and Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. And then obviously you guys for hosting the broadcast again. Say it every week. Love to go back and watch it. And Goat Locker, everything that they do for all the vets. Appreciate that. And it's just neat to see them supporting veterans. And then Mike Browning for the awesome paint scheme. And then absolutely not least here is Burnouts for Bennett, raising awareness for him, putting on the podium, get on the broadcast. I think he likes to hop on and watch us, and we like to get him some screenshots with his paint scheme. So that's who I got.
Well, fantastic job tonight with that late charge in the race to take home your 4th win of the season. Jake Ham, go celebrate, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, sir.
That'll lead us right to our second place finisher, Jeremy Gardner, who Sky Shrek is standing by with.
Jeremy, you got a copy.
Yes, sir.
All right, you were running back in 5th before that last caution, but you were able to get yourself up to 2nd after. What were you thinking when that yellow came out?
Which one? Man, I felt like the yellows killed me tonight. I had track position there. I was trying to hold Jake off, even though he was on newer tires, and then we luckily had another caution, but I was already on pit road, so that kind of screwed me. But I mean, I was driving mad at the end of that, so I was trying to get back up to him, at least see if I can get up under him, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, walk me through those last 15 laps where you were able to bring home a P2.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I started outside. I mean, I was full send every single lap. I didn't think I was gonna be able to make that pass on the outside on that third place car. I mean, I figured he'd be full send in the turn 1, 2, but tried to keep it clean. I didn't want to wreck nobody tonight. I know Dover can be extremely tight off it too if you race side by side, but I tried to do everything I could tonight and just couldn't do anything but P2. I was trying to go for that win tonight, but it didn't work out. It was looking good there for a minute, but not meant to be tonight.
Why do you think there were so many cautions tonight? Was it just the track temp being high, or was it just the track in general?
I mean, honestly, the track temp, I mean, the truck really wasn't that loose. It had a little bit of snugness in it. It was kind of tight. I mean, I think people are just overdriving, just being impatient tonight. I hate it for Pat and Jamie, man. That wasn't a good showcase tonight. We hadn't had any of that all season long, and then all of a sudden tonight it's just chaos. I mean, I hate it for those guys, but this is probably going to be the only race like that. I think the rest of the season, I think, will be good. I mean, typically every race we're, 1 or 2 cautions. So,
Yeah,
we'll move on to next week.
I think the rest of the season will be pretty good. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, man. Pat and Jamie, I appreciate them guys, man. They're great guys. They put on a hell of a league. I appreciate every single thing they do. Jam Printing and Promotions, one of my sponsors, SAVE22 Vet. Alexander PCs, of course, y'all guys put on the broadcast. Y'all put on a hell of a broadcast every single week, and we appreciate you. And my guys over at Premier Racing Setups.
All right. Well, congrats on 2nd place tonight, Jeremy Gardner. And now we have caught back up with our 3rd place finisher tonight. Logan is with another Logan Sturgeon.
It's Loganception up here in the V-Speed booth. Mr. Sturgeon, you started out in 10th here tonight, worked your way up to 3rd. What seemed to be the biggest factor for you? Was it the untimely yellows? Was it a pit strategy that found your way up here to finish out in 3rd place tonight?
I feel like I just kind of fell ass backwards into this one. I don't feel like I had any business being up there. Started the race off really bad. Levi, I guess, missed a shift. I got pushed into him, so I had damage from lap 1. Stayed out. I was getting ready to come down, and we had that caution. So I mean, honestly just got lucky with that one. I really pushed it after that. Me and the 85. I was trying to keep him close enough, but I was also pushing harder, expecting an earlier caution. So that kind of hurt a little bit. But I mean, I'll take a 3rd place any day of the week, especially because I don't run every week anymore. So when I get to get on and race and bring home a podium, I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. Being the best finish of your season so far, it's got to put a smile on your face. But ultimately, it was a battle all throughout the field. You were able to hold off Barrett Morton here in the closing laps, beat him out to the start-finish line by just 0.103 of a second. Do you think, you mentioned that you didn't quite feel like you belong up here. Evidently you do. So is that going to change your mindset going forward? Do you feel like you have a truck that can compete now that you've got some momentum under your feet?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take each race as I go. I'm here to have fun, cause I love racing. I've taken iRacing too seriously at points to where it hasn't been as fun. So I'm just kind of taking a step back and just trying to enjoy it more and not take it as serious. And maybe I found something by by coming home third tonight. Maybe that's the trick.
The swift kick in the rear that you needed to kind of get things kick-started, huh?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Third place, Logan Sturgeon. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to before you go and start celebrating with your team?
Want to shout out Above the Yellow Line. They were on the car tonight. Sim Motion, SAVE22, V Speed. I do want to say I'm gonna put my own plug in. I do my own barbecue sauce. I sell my own barbecue sauce, and today was a big day. I received our first official run, like fully production made. I got the bottles today. So if anybody's interested, they're going to go live on my website this weekend, bigfishbarbecue.shop. They'll be up there, and yeah, I'm just along for the ride for this at this point, and just seeing what happens.
What he couldn't quite ask for a better timing for a podium finish on such a big day for your barbecue sauce. And by the way, which I can confirm, fantastic sauce. Go check it out if you haven't already. But Logan Sturgeon, congratulations, buddy. We'll see you as the season continues on.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Sky, that concludes our post-race coverage. It's, again, one of those races, those guys kind of mentioned it, didn't quite seem like it was our typical Friday night. What were you thinking about what went down here at Dover?
Yeah, I think once that early stage of the race got out of the way with all the cautions and all the mayhem, I think we kind of settled it down a little bit towards the end. Still had a few yellows, but the last couple runs there towards the end, I thought provided some really good racing and some good action.
It certainly did. And talking about good action, we have one more regular season race, and that's going to take us to Music City. Nashville, Tennessee was where we're going to find out who our top 12 drivers are officially for our playoffs. But that is it for tonight. We'll get right back at it next week when we get there. For Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkas, and everybody at Goat Locker Racing, for Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, and of course our producer, Eddie Smith, and our colleague in the booth tonight, Sky Streck. My name is Logan Threlkeld. Thank you for watching tonight's broadcast, and just a side note, happy birthday, Patrick Drabick and Daniel Cunningham. We'll see you next week as we take on Nashville.